Last time we learned about data types and the variables. Today we'll learn more about how to create such variables and how to assign them data types. This is a very simple program. I would like you to stop the video for like a minute and just read it line by line, familiarize yourself with it. We will learn today how to create, assign, and change the value of the variables. Initially, we have a memory, and this memory where we put all of our variables, and initially you can think of it as something that's completely empty. And then we have the interpreter, and as we said, the interpreter is a program that's going to read your code line by line and execute it. So initially we have an empty RAM. Let's for a sake of visualization, let's say that we have here the memory before a line and an instruction, and here the memory after it. The first line here have something called print 55. So this is going to just print 55, but the printing command here doesn't have an effect over the RAM. So far so good. Moving to the second line of code. Here in line 9 we have something said age equal 55. So like the last time, we say that the name of the variable or the identifier of it is age, and its value is 55. Clearly this is an integer. Now the memory is empty, but after this line of code, somewhere in the memory we will have a variable named age with value 55, and the type of it is integer. The equal here means assign. It takes the value on the right side and put it on the left side. So the left side here represents something, some box in the memory here, the box of the age itself. And as we said, there is definitely some memory location for every variable here, but we don't necessarily know where is it exactly, but we know it must exist there. Let's proceed more with our code. We have here something called print age. The print is a function that receives something to print it. It can receive almost anything that is printable. So when the print function receives this age, which is a variable, it knows it's something that in the memory and it has a value. So it goes to the memory and get the value here 55 and print it. In the second line we have a print of an expression age plus 5. Again, the age is something in the memory. The first thing it goes to the memory and get this value 55. So now it's like 55 plus 5. Adding both of them together, we have the value of 60. Again, the couple of commands are just printing, so there will be no effect on the memory from such a printing statement. After that, we have a new assignment command which says weight equal 75.8. After the instruction, there should be a new variable created in the memory with value 75.8, and the type would be float. Again, printing this value would just retrieve it from the memory and just print it. Overall, this is how we create and assign variables in the memory. There is no maximum limit for a string. Like you can have a very big statement, string, maybe up to the limit of your physical machine. In Python 3, there is also no limit for the integer. You can have a very integer like that. We call it, when it's such a big, we call it a big integer. It's very extremely big. If you are coming from C++ background, you would know that the C++ integer is very limited. However, the float variable has a limit. This is the limited value of the float value. Take a minute to read it. If you thought about it, we have number like 1.79, which is almost 2 times 10 to the power 308. This means that 308 zeros, and we have here like 2. So overall, the float is a representation for 309 digits. And one very interesting thing to know is the float is an approximation. It isn't accurate, especially when it comes to big numbers. It is more about a representation that represents the fractional part, but in an inaccurate way. So this is the catch here. It's a big representation. 308 is typically way beyond most of your needs in practice, but still it is inaccurate. In the future, you can write these two lines to bring for you the minimum and maximum values for the float, but in the future we should understand more its meaning. That's all.